Okay. Osvav. Your Shamayim Biraschet. I assume it's going to distinguish between the two. Let's see. Your Shamayim Biraschet. Kol Pu'ula. Any activity. Frat Badas Hashem. Especially one performed, I guess, in. I'm not sure what it says. It should probably be by. I don't know. The congregation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Am Yisrael. Shebacha Banu. Mikol Amim, Nasa Benata B'Sreinu Chaye Olam Nefesh Kedosha Ma'od. A very high, very holy soul, Margeshes Inyanim Gedolim, which feels great matters. In other words, I assume he means Kabbalistic, esoteric stuff. I don't think he means great ideological matters, but maybe I'm wrong. Chol Ma'aseh, all of its activities, and Hagasa and its conduct, Melubashim B'Sidrei Chochma L'Yona, are clothed in the arrangements of the higher wisdom, Mushbas Min Yisbarach, which emanates down here from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Chasuma Chosamo AMS, and is signed and sealed with his seal of truth. Kain Kopal, so all those things we've been granted to use, all our tools. Kain Kopal Poel Shu Tov Fi Torah Mamshich Oso. So it's clearly Kabbalistic that any activity which is good according to Torah brings down, a person does it on account of his good choice and his intellect which schlepped along, a period, and there's no right term, an extent of dveikus in the treasury of good, of life and good. So it seems like very similar, straight up Nefesh HaChaim. Every mitzvah is Paral Nolama Soyonim and brings Kedusha to you as well. Because since it's Paral Nolama Soyonim, so therefore it brings Kedusha to you. Because his mind is hardwired to match up to with the seichel, with the intellect, which flows from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In this way, he is enjoying the radiance from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he's perfected in himself. And he is therefore automatically worthy to be sustained by the radiance of the general light. And actually means by general light. I guess it means that the light which you created through your mitzvah, through your Torah, is an effective light which has an impact on which has an impact on everything in the world, including on you. In other words, you get the zib of the ora klali, which comes down from the mitzvah which you performed. Because they are in sync. If you ruin your ways, he named Shich al Atzmot Surah Mudbas, you bring that upon yourself a coin which is engraved. In other words, a format. Which is the antithesis of the high wisdom. Which of course the purpose of good. And it's compellingly necessary to get to the place of Chachma Yonah. That is the true makom. We're talking about makom olam. Talking about I am makom kvodo. So the makom kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is this place where we have the Chachma Yonah, which then because obviously Chachma Yonah doesn't say where Hashem is, but it says something about what Hashem represents to us, and He represents Chachma Yonah. So if you find Chachma Yonah, so then you find Hashem. So if you fall astray of that, so you ruined yourself. The format of your soul was not according to the truth of that which is perfected. The exact opposite, based on the relative significance of the sin. More than he was distant, I guess he is Bitsar Godol. You can't enjoy the radiance of the Shekhinah. In other words, now you pushed aside because you ruin yourself, and your nefesh is not the same nefesh. Your experience of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, is also damaged. Yavatamo, it's interesting term. It lost its time. I guess once you sin, you're mekalkel. So then avatamo means you no longer can taste the significance of the Shekhinah. You have to be spiritual in order to appreciate spiritual. You lose it, you lose it. So it's going to be very depressing for you. Kol davar mitzta'er b'avcho. And here, and everything is caused grief or anguish by its opposite. Kani kibitzu yachad, and here, besides you being in the opposite, kani kibitzu yachad, here we got to get the tsar, anguish, uboshes, and embarrassing chisor shlemus, and lack of shlemus. And he perceives from a distance the glory of the wisdom. Upanav no flows, and his eyes, his face falls. When he can't connect to it. Ki mumbo, he has a blemish. Nafshalov te'avel, and therefore so will mourn for itself. So, in and of itself, the diminution of the nefesh, the lowness and meanness of the nefesh, is the sin. Vayira lishamer, so lizeh hu yiras chet. So where is my yiras chet? It's not so different than the regular definition is. I'm afraid of messing up, right? The chet makes me mess up. I'm afraid of messing up. If I do mess up, I'm going to get something happens, whatever. But we're talking about right now trying not to get to the point of messing up. So by year he's afraid that the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be distant from him. That's one thing. No, sorry, made it wrong. Sorry. Okay, I would not have said that that's Yerushalayim, but we're not learning me. We're learning RAYH Kook. So the B'chisus of Shebenefesh hu chet. Therefore, the Yira to the B'chisus HaNefesh, that's Yira's chet. And the Yira, because the light, the divine light is going to be removed from you, and this causes you embarrassment and anguish. Zer Yerushalayim. Okay, so again, Yiras chet is from the messing up of the sin. Yerushalayim is from your messing up Shamayim. Okay, the system is not going to function. Somebody has an understanding heart to educate himself in matters of Avodas Hashem. Slave and the purification of soul. Decide Hashem to walk before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He won't find any satisfaction if he leaves aside his analysis based on the relative accomplishments which he has. He won't get satisfied. He's not allowed to leave. Because when we got our portions, which are suitable for the practical aspect of Torah, a love loving has a sekizo mashara uilo is a suitable for him to be shorish nishmaso. based on the root of his soul. Okay, but Oswald says so if he has to leave it, he's going to be deprived of Hemshech Kedusha, of bringing down the Kedusha, Ayira, here, Vashashua, and the playfulness, the Chedvas Hashem, and the mirth, the merriness of Hashem. Somebody who understands what he's losing, feels pain and loss a lot more than somebody who doesn't feel that loss. Feel that loss because he didn't lose that much. Okay, so
it's very poetic.
Yeah. So the bottom line is that Yirah Shamayim and Yirah Schet are two sides of a coin. Yirah Shamayim is the fear of losing one's connection to Elohim Yarim. That's Yirah Shamayim. Yirah Schet is fear of degradation by sinning. And in the last paragraph here, he seems to be saying that since a person has a seichel, he'd much rather be out of this game, and be included with his seichel, but he's not allowed to, because he for his neshama it's got to stay down here. So if a person leaves this, then he won't be able to have continuity in kedusha and yira, etc. And then this guy's going to feel it, and the other guy's not going to feel it. Okay, Zayin. Learning of Yira and embedding it. The reason why there's not enough written to comprise a Talmud, I mean, matters of Avodas Hashem. Even though it certainly requires great learning and a lot of analysis. We could say the nature of intellect is to be intellectual. And of course, Yira is emotional. It can be because of the intellectual, emotional. Generations went with incompletion, with the true intellect. Maybe we have several Sifrei Avodah. Yesh Mem Shedibu B'Ktsar, many of them spoke briefly. They don't speak Avodas Anshe Dorenu. It's not good enough for the people of our generation. Kim L'Skula, except Skula Mehem, the higher level, especially who are uniquely precious to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Kuli Haivulai, and maybe not even that. So it could be whatever they wrote. It's so terse that it's not going to give anybody the solutions. The issue so that is problem that it's too short. The issue should even young Gavoy. Some see for a year talking about lofty matters. Ad Shalami Shaloi School Adain Darcha Year of Avoida. Somebody's not making themselves intelligent in these pathways. Berach Hamuat, at least at a minimum, Vitara Sechel no she according to the purity of the human soul. You that Varim Lan Kadibra Isasim Chos Sever Chos. The words for them are going to be
the closed book.
The closed book. It's another reason. Kisaras Alevi Spalus, the storm in the heart and the excitement. A nefesh, which activates the soul. Misnageres legamre lechachma shetisi Hashem. Really, our emotional parts don't want us to think. Okay? So, but im ki tovai lifamim is palus tova kedusha. So even though sometimes it's, so he's saying, even a saras alev and his pilus, which is good, is against chachma.
Right.
Okay. So it doesn't want chachma. V'iki siba tovai lifamim. Sometimes it's good. I feel that Ispalus Tova. It's good to have a great arousal. Kedusha Eina Okay, and then the
So
next step
your
is
emotional arousal only serves to deepen your intellectual commitment.
no, he didn't say that yet. Oh, occasionally, yes, occasionally, right, yes. Okay, so but
He
it's
says,
only
"Eina kiyim likvoa b'yoser ba'omek hanefesh es kinyan hadash sheklakon." In other
right,
words, intellectually, you already know what you're supposed to do, but the hispilus is just there to deepen the commitment and to reinforce what you know intellectually.
right. Okay, good. As ich schreibe, Yosef, Yuka Yosef. Aber kvius das vasechel b'tchilasa, but that for emotion you need arousal. But for seichel, before the true menucha, which it requires, shmaitza boy tilusa. Torah learning requires clarity. Kiyoma distana, like a fall day in which there's no rain, no rain. Kavachomer b'dvarim hakedoshim hazakim. Yoni avodah shlema. So you need clarity for davening, for to have an impact. So you need clarity in other matters of avodah, and certain matters of Torah. Zman tefillah l'chud, zman tefillah l'chud, zman Torah l'chud. You know, each in their own spheres, but they're separate, seem to be separate bodies of wisdom. No, it's not in my. I didn't put it away. Put it well. Tefillah is emotion, and it's bispilus, and Torah is seichel. Okay. It's appropriate and mandatory to do tshuva and possess emuna and simple yira for everything you learn. It's certainly true about learning about yira. But the arousal and the slow, which is necessary, roy like bilas manachem. Before, like before, after. Learn to be calm, cool, collected. Moshe Chazal Memches Baim Shenikin Torah. The boy Vainu Simcha Shel Menucha Shemar Gareshes Ruach Kol. Let's say it pushed away any negative spirit, any sad spirit. Tabchinas Seichel, on account of the Seichel being in charge, BB Tochem Shleim Sholim Alokim, with complete trust in Hashem. Askolas Tuvo, and knowing what is good in eyes Hashem's favor, eyes. But Oz Yatzliach, and then he'll be successful. So first you have to have his spilus, and then you have to have limud, and the limud should be menuchas and nefesh, right?
Right.
Okay. And he says that anything you learn going to arouse your kochas nefesh a little bit. Okay, but that's a new thing. That's at the top. Because that's it so wants to find them in their nature. That's going to lead somebody who's not questing for truth. He's reached Hashem's work, which is questing for Hashem. He doesn't have it set himself well. He only looks at deep stuff because he has to. If he heard here, he heard. If he heard and then he found on his own, what's his name? L'simcha b'yoni ava, l'simcha b'yoni ava, o l'cherda b'yoni ayira, v'hu sover shebezeu mashlim chuko. So evidently this person is not thinking He thinks that that's enough. Varehu misarpeh b'atzmo. The idea amitis. He's going to weaken himself if he's not successful. It's already stated in this book of Chachamim. It would seem as we're running along here, there's nothing to actually look at. When he finds the chiddush hargasha b'leiv, u'balachlit mizeh, then we have a different type of hargasha b'leiv, which comes to determine she'ach zosi taras hayira. This is all. This no. Shemotzi chiddush hargasha b'leiv, u'balachlit mizeh.
When he has some sort of emotional arousal, he feels that he has reached, or he has. This is what Yira Shemayim is all about.
Yeah, but this is out of. So this is the purpose of Sifrei Yira, right?
Right, but he's saying that even if you're learning, regular learning, not Sifrei Yira.
Right.
But he feels some sort of arousal, emotional arousal. So he feels that this is what the Torah Yira Shemayim is all about. But he says, "Avobah mizera gedayla." But this is a bad thing comes to this. And you forget Hashem.
It's very Litvish. Here's between Chassidish and Litvish. This is very Litvish, right. Because he's saying that could be so happy with your learning, you're going to forget about
the because when the feeling subsides, there's nothing left. It's just like a flash, but there's nothing left to sustain the fire. And now, because now after the flash, there was an ignition, but it was just a flash. But after that's gone, now there's nothing left, and so Yira Shemayim becomes nivzeh, becomes debased in his eyes, in his heart.
Right.
And he would rather prefer to be involved in limudim, which his intellect becomes involved. To understand, to acquire knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's like there's two aspects. There's a person could be mistaken that he thinks that the whole thing is about feeling, and if it's all about feeling, so very often feelings are just like a flash in the pan. They don't last. A person hears a good speech, or he hears a good shmooze or a sikha, or whatever he hears, this oirus. And he's pushed to make a commitment, and then 2 days later he's like, well, what is this all about? I committed to this thing. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. The feeling is gone. There has to be some intellectual driving to sustain it. And once he realizes this, then being involved in dveikus and things of feeling become his association. He doesn't want to associate with it because it doesn't last. It doesn't last. So he feels he has to sustain his intellectual
which gives
commitment
him more
rather than his emotional commitment.
More of his high. But this all right. We'll have to see how what he does. We'll have to stop here with this. Okay, but we'll have to see what he does with it and what we're supposed to do as an eitzah for this.
I daven at the Chabad, and so they wrote me in to learn Tanya, of course.
Okay.
And so I've been learning it. They have every day. You do a little bit of Tanya, and I listen online. It's quite excellent. I never experienced any of this Chachmas Anista or anything about it. And he discusses at length these ideas about where does the emotional commitment come in, and where does the intellectual commitment come in?
Right.
And is it possible to arouse through intellect? Is it possible to arouse your emotions? And just the opposite, is it possible through emotions to arouse your intellect? And there's like a back and forth there. He has several chapters about it.
Right. So Rav Kook is taking from Chabad and from Litvisha at the same time. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. He definitely is combining the two. Absolutely.
Okay.
Very good. All right. Very good. Very interesting.
So far, I
Thank
managed to
you.
get to it.
Yeah.
So it's not gibberish. Okay.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Take care.
Take it back.
Bye bye.